Bloodshot is out in theaters, and obviously if you're watching this video, you already knew that. Now, before we go any further, let's also give a mandatory "this video contains spoilers for the film" disclaimer that you shouldn't really need, but here it is. Bloodshot is the first movie in the new Valiant Cinematic Universe. Valiant Entertainment has partnered with Sony to create the first film, Bloodshot, but the second film, Harbingers, will actually be from Paramount. All of the Valiant films seem to be backed by DMG Entertainment, a company that is based here in Beverly Hills. But one of the things that's interesting is that we don't really know where Bloodshot's going to end up because this movie was made by Sony, and these movie rights seem to be kind of all over the place. However, if I'm being honest, Bloodshot probably isn't the most crucial character to have in a Valiant movie universe. He could easily be moved out and they would still have a dozen other Valiant properties that would work well together, like Harbingers and Archer and Armstrong, Shadow Man, tons of other stuff. Now from here on out, the video is primarily going to focus on the blow-by-blow for the film, and the reason that is because the ending doesn't leave a whole lot up to the imagination. It's fairly straightforward. Bloodshot follows Ray Garrison, played by Vin Diesel, a soldier deployed on an extraction mission, but after successfully completing the mission, he returns home to his wife Gina, and they're both quickly captured by a fairly nefarious man named Martin Axe, played by Toby Kebbell. After attempting to extract information about the mission from Raymond, Martin ends up killing both Gina and Raymond. Raymond dies, but is brought back to life by Rising Spirit Technologies director Dr. Emil Harding, played by Guy Pearce. Rising Spirit Technologies is of course a play on the 90s comic book name Project Rising Spirit, which is what created Bloodshot in the comics. Raymond can't remember his past or what happened to him, but he is imbued with nanotechnology that allows him to heal from any attack, so that is a big bonus. Ray then meets other soldiers just like him who have been given a new lease on life by the technology of RSP. These soldiers include Eliza Gonzalez's sympathetic KT, a woman who has a respirator built into her chest after inhaling some gas that permanently damaged her vocal cords, Sam Hugan as Jimmy Dalton, a typical ex-military guy who had his legs blown off in a combat mission, and another soldier whose eyes were destroyed in battle but is able to see through a series of cameras. Raymond starts to test the limits of his abilities and in the process hears a song on the radio that triggers his memory to return. He goes on a one-man murder spree to find Martin Axe and avenge both his wife and his own death, which he successfully completes in extremely brutal fashion. And that was Bloodshot. It was actually a pretty good movie, and this has been Nick with Key Issues. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. There's of course there's more. We learn that Ray is actually being manipulated by Dr. Harding. Through an extremely complicated memory replacement regimen, the good doctor is able to continuously bring Raymond back to life with a wiped memory, but latent memories of who killed him and his wife. Each time he's brought back, his memories change and a new person is inserted as the trigger man who killed Gina and Ray. We learn that the mission we just saw that resulted in Martin's death was not the first time Ray had been used this way. Dr. Harding has been using Ray, aka Bloodshot, to murder people who left his program so that he can be the last man standing in order to do what? Yes, make a ton of money. You see, Dr. Harding is really just trying to make the most money possible when selling his fantastic nanotechnology to various militaries around the world. Oh, and just for good measure, Harding is also manipulating KT into performing in his charade by threatening to remove the respirator tech that's keeping her alive if she doesn't continue along with the charade, which she actually hates because she's the only one of Harding's goons that actually has a soul. Harding wipes Ray's brain through his programming and points him at a new target, another former colleague named Nick Barris. Bloodshot goes after everybody in the compound and kills them all, including Barris, but is actually stopped dead in his tracks by an employee and expert computer scientist within Barris's employment named Wilfred Wiggins. Wilfred is able to stop Bloodshot by detonating an electromagnetic pulse, knocking the super soldier offline. He's brought back up by Wiggins, who attempts to give him the tools to flee. However, Raymond instead goes to find his wife, which is stupid, but, that's what he does. Raymond finds Gina, but learns she's moved on without him, and that he's actually been doing this for 5 years. Bloodshot is then again attacked by Harding's goons, and they retrieve him. Harding determines that Wiggins needs to die and sends KT after him. She returns empty-handed, and Harding decides to send his better asset, Bloodshot, after him instead. However, KT and Wiggins pulled the old computer switcheroo in Harding, and they instead free Bloodshot from their control, and he sets his sights on Harding and the rest of the goons. A shitload of fighting and explosions occur, and Bloodshot kills all of the goons and then goes after Harding in the streets. Bloodshot has taken a tremendous amount of damage at this point, and the nanotech just can't seem to keep up, so his skin turns white, indicating that the nanomachines in his blood are overclocking from all of this damage. Harding realizes what's happening, and he starts firing at him, which essentially depletes the remaining nanotechnology that's left with Bloodshot. Essentially mortal now at this point, Bloodshot decides to kill himself and Harding with a grenade. But Bloodshot doesn't die. He wakes up and he's been completely restored by Wiggins, who has amplified his powers and made it so that his nanomachines don't need to recharge. Essentially, he hot rods Bloodshot so that he no longer needs to be connected to the technology that controlled him from RSP. The whole team rides off into the sunset. Movie over. For real this time. There isn't any secret scene or clip that sets up a sequel, and I think the reason for this is because, like I mentioned before, this is a new franchise and it's the only movie that Sony is going to be producing, so they probably aren't going to tie this directly into the full Valiant universe. But who knows? Depending on the performance of this film, they might end up selling the rights to Paramount, and then that character of Bloodshot, played by Vin Diesel, can work his way into this universe. I just don't know exactly how everything's going to shake out. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be a second Bloodshot film for Sony either. It certainly leaves the door open, but Bloodshot pretty much killed everybody in the film, so without more characters from Valiant coming in, they would have to invent more reasons for him to kill people, and he kind of doesn't have that right now. And that's about it. Ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see if future Valiant films introduce more characters for Bloodshot to kill, and I'm sure they will, or else why would they even be creating a cinematic universe? Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been Nick with Key Issues. Do all the random YouTuber things that we ask you to do, like and subscribe and all that junk. Keep watching our videos. We really appreciate your support. And you know the motto, comics over everything.